again, we're going to use carbon dioxide in a very concentrated form, in the form of solid carbon dioxide or dry ice, which is something that we saw a little bit earlier in the lecture. So this is a block of dry ice. And again, we're going to use magnesium. So I have some magnesium metal here. And I'm just going to make a little pile in a little trough that we've cut inside the block. And I'm going to set fire to the magnesium, and once it's on fire, Chris is going to put the other half of the block on top, and then the magnesium will be sort of trapped inside. Okay. And if we bring the lights down, and you can see the combustion is becoming more vigorous. And this is magnesium burning in carbon dioxide. So it's not putting the fire out, it's actually supporting combustion. It's giving off this beautiful light. The white smoke you see is magnesium oxide. This is the sort of stuff that's used in indigestion tablets, that kind of thing. I wouldn't recommend that for dealing with indigestion. So the magnesium combines with the carbon dioxide to make magnesium oxide and carbon. Thank you. Okay, we have a third kind of fire extinguisher, and that's this one. This is called a dry powder fire extinguisher. It contains a powder and it's pressurized. When we set this off, the powder comes out of the hose and we can squirt it at the fire and put the fire out. Now, these are actually extremely good fire extinguishers. If you have an extinguisher in your kitchen or one in your car, it's probably a dry powder extinguisher. And these extinguishers usually contain something like sodium or potassium carbonate or sodium or potassium bicarbonate. They're very effective extinguishers. They're good for dealing with all kinds of fire, and it would be very surprising if using the powder out of one of those could actually make combustion faster or make it worse. Well, perhaps it can. In this spoon, we have a gram of commercial gunpowder. It's made from a mixture of 3 ingredients. Saltpeter, whose chemical name is potassium nitrate, and that acts as a source of concentrated oxygen. We call that an oxidizer. It contains charcoal, which acts as the fuel, and that burns in the oxygen released by the potassium nitrate. And it contains sulfur, and the sulfur is there to aid combustion to make the gunpowder burn more easily. What would happen if we took gunpowder and instead of using charcoal, which is the main fuel, we use some of the powder from a fire extinguisher? So this seems pretty odd. We're going to take away the main fuel from the gunpowder and we're going to replace it with something that's used in a fire extinguisher. In fact, we're going to use potassium carbonate for this. So if we mix those 3 things together, that is potassium nitrate, potassium carbonate and sulfur, we get something called yellow powder. And so in this spoon we have a gram of black powder, and in this spoon we have a gram of yellow powder. Now, what we're going to do is to heat up these 2 spoons, and we'll see if there's a difference between these 2 powders. So there's the gunpowder, and this is the yellow powder. Now, gunpowder, when it burns in the open, doesn't make a bang. It just burns with a puff and a little cloud of smoke. So we're not expecting the gunpowder to make a bang. The yellow powder, however, very probably will make a bang, and it could be fairly loud. So sometime in the next minute or so, there could be quite a loud bang, and you might wish to cover your ears for this. Now, as the spoons heat up, at some point the gunpowder will get hot enough that it will ignite, and we'll see a puff of smoke. The yellow powder is a little bit different. Inside that spoon, the materials are starting to melt, they're flowing together, and some chemistry is taking place. The chemical composition is actually changing as a result of being warmed up. And at some point, that new mixture of chemicals should give rise to a little explosion. So it looks as if the gun... and a beautiful smoke ring.